All right, let's kick off this deep dive. We're going to be looking at something pretty interesting today, China's journey into the global commercial aviation market.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story for sure.
Specifically, we're focusing on the ARJ21 regional jet.
This is their first domestically developed regional jet, right?
That's right.
So it really represents, a significant leap forward for their aviation ambitions.
Exactly. And what's really cool is we're kind of tracing this plane's path.
Oh, okay.
From its very first domestic flights, like inside China, all the way to its international routes.
Wow.
So it's like a travel journal,
Oh,
but for an airplane.
that's a great way to put it. What is it about this ARJ21 that makes it so special? What makes it stand out?
Well, I think one of the sources actually highlighted that the ARJ21 is designed with, and this is a quote, complete independent intellectual property rights.
Ooh, that's interesting. What does that tell us?
Yeah. What did that tell you about China's goals, especially in the global aviation landscape?
Well, I think that detail jumps out, doesn't it? It tells us that China is not content with simply being a manufacturing hub for, aircraft designed elsewhere. They want to be self-reliant in this incredibly competitive field. And the ARJ21 is, I think, a really powerful symbol of that ambition.
So it's more than just, hey, we built a plane. It's, hey, we designed to produce this, and this is our technology.
Absolutely.
It really establishes them as a major player in the aviation world, potentially. So let's see how they're doing this.
Okay.
The first leg of this trip, for us, takes us to Xinjiang province.
Okay, in Western China, right?
Yeah, Western China. Now, Xinjiang is a vast region with a diverse and challenging environment. I mean, you got deserts, mountains, everything. What was it like for the ARJ21 in its early days there?
Yeah, it was really a proving ground for this plane.
Yeah.
We're talking about high altitudes,
Oh, wow.
extreme temperatures. I mean, it really had to show what it could do.
So right out of the gate, it's getting tested.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just one, like, hey, let's fly it over there and see if it works, test flight. This thing was integrated into a network of 25 airports across Xinjiang,
Wow.
which they call and this is kind of a cool name, the Border Express Network. So what kind of impact did this have on the region? I mean, you're connecting all these places.
I think this is a brilliant move by China.
Yeah.
You're connecting remote communities, some that may have been very isolated before.
Right.
It's a boost to their economies. At the same time, the ARJ21 gets all this operational experience.
Right. In these crazy conditions.
Adverse conditions, absolutely.
That's amazing. And I mean, think about the people in these towns.
Yeah.
Some of them may have never had access to air travel before.
Right. It opens up a whole world, doesn't it?
It really does. But this deep dive, it's about the ARJ21's journey beyond China's borders.
Okay.
And a key moment in that journey takes us to December 2022. What happened then?
That was the ARJ21's international debut. It was delivered to Transnusa,
Okay.
an Indonesian airline. So this is the jet's first time outside China.
It's hitting the global stage, kind of.
Yeah.
Why Indonesia? What made it such a suitable market?
Indonesia is an archipelago, lots of islands, rapidly growing aviation market.
Yeah.
So it's practically tailor-made for regional jets.
It's perfect. Like, you got to connect all these islands, right?
Exactly. Efficient connections.
So it seems like a great match. And with this delivery, the ARJ21's really taken a significant step onto the global stage.
Absolutely.
So where does its journey take us from Indonesia?
That's a great question. Well, from Indonesia, the ARJ21 embarks on a journey that really puts it on the map, so to speak.
Okay.
In October 2024, Transnusa, that Indonesian airline, they launch a new route, connecting Manado in Indonesia to Guangzhou, China.
Okay, so that's a pretty significant route.
It is.
It's not just another flight, right?
Yeah.
Why is this Manado-Guangzhou connection so important?
It's important for a couple of big reasons.
Okay.
First, it's the longest commercial route the ARJ21 has flown so far.
Oh, wow. So it's really stretching its wings.
Exactly. But even more importantly, this marks the first time a Chinese-made aircraft has been used by a foreign airline for flights to and from China.
That's a huge deal. It's like a vote of confidence.
Absolutely. It's a big statement.
Yeah, like the world is starting to recognize Chinese-made aircraft.
And that raises a really interesting question.
What's that?
How might this impact the big players, like Boeing and Airbus?
Right. They've been dominating the market for so long.
Exactly.
Could this be the start of a shift in the aviation industry?
It's certainly something to watch.
It is. Speaking of the aircraft itself, What's it like to actually fly on one of these?
Well, the ARJ21, it's designed to carry 95 passengers,
Okay.
all in an economy class configuration.
Okay.
And it's got a pretty impressive range, too, anywhere from 2,225 to 3,700 kilometers.
Like 3,700 kilometers? That's a long way for a regional jet.
It is. Think of it like flying from New York to Denver. That's the kind of distance we're talking about.
That's incredible. So this isn't just hopping between small towns.
No, not at all. And it's not just about distance either.
What else?
The ARJ21 is built for some tough conditions.
Okay, like what?
High temperatures, no problem. Crosswinds, it can handle them. Even night operations.
Wow. So this thing is ready for anything.
Pretty much. It's a versatile aircraft.
It sounds like it. So let's talk passenger experience.
Okay.
What can people expect when they step on board?
Well, they've gone for a comfortable and modern cabin.
Okay, nice.
Full leather seats, custom cabin design.
So they're trying to elevate the experience a bit.
Exactly. It's not your typical regional jet feel.
It sounds like they put a lot of thought into making it appealing to both airlines and passengers.
They have. But of course, any new player in a market like this faces challenges.
Right. What are some of the hurdles for the ARJ21?
Well, one of the biggest is establishing a track record,
Okay, proving themselves.
getting trust from airlines and passengers.
Makes sense. Airlines are careful about what planes they use.
Of course, they need to know it's reliable, safe, especially when it's a newer manufacturer.
Right, like, can we count on this?
Exactly. But that experience in Xinjiang, flying in those tough conditions,
Yeah.
that's valuable data. It shows they can handle it.
So it's not just about building a good plane. It's about proving it can perform.
Absolutely. But, challenges often come with opportunities.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, the demand for regional jets is growing globally.
Oh, that's true. Especially in places where air travel is expanding quickly.
Exactly. Southeast Asia, Africa, and these regions often have unique needs.
Okay, like what kind of needs?
Well, some airports might have shorter runways,
Ah, I see.
or they might be in really hot climates.
So the ARJ21 being able to handle that gives it an edge.
A big one. And then there's the cost factor.
Right. Airlines are always looking to save money.
And the ARJ21 is likely to be very competitively priced.
So we've got a reliable jet, it's adaptable to different environments, and it's affordable. That sounds like a winning formula.
It does have a lot of potential.
But how do you see the success of this plane impacting the whole aviation scene, the big picture?
That's the question, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this plane's journey,
Yeah.
how advanced it is, its potential to shake things up in the global market.
Right, but let's make it personal for our listeners.
Okay.
How could the ARJ21 and China's rise in aviation actually affect their lives?
That's a great question. This isn't just about factories and runways.
Right.
This has real-world effects.
Okay.
So let's think about the most direct impact first, flying itself.
Okay, yeah.
If this jet keeps gaining popularity, and especially if China's bigger jets, start flying internationally, we could see some pretty big changes in how we travel by air.
You're talking things like ticket prices, flight routes, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
More competition, especially from someone focused on keeping costs down,
Yeah.
that usually means lower fares.
That's good news for everyone.
Right. Whether you travel for fun or for work. And as more airlines use the ARJ21 or those bigger Chinese jets I mentioned, we might see tons of new routes opening up, connecting cities that were kind of off the beaten path before.
So more direct flights, potentially shorter trips,
Yep.
maybe even chances to see places that were harder to get to before.
Exactly. It really opens up the world.
I like that.
But it's not just about getting there. It's also about the impact on the environment.
Oh, right.
This jet, it's designed with fuel efficiency in mind.
That's a big deal. Nowadays, everyone's thinking about that.
Absolutely. With all the concerns about flying's carbon footprint, this could make a difference.
So airlines could reduce their emissions,
Right.
make flying a bit greener,
Exactly.
so cheaper flights, more places to go, and less harm to the planet.
That's the goal, but it goes even deeper than that.
Okay, what do you mean?
China's rise in aviation, it's not just an industry story.
Right.
It's a global economic story.
You're talking about jobs, technology?
All of that. And shifts in global influence, too.
Wow.
As their aviation industry grows, it creates jobs.
Okay.
Not just in building planes, but designing them, the engineering, research, all the supporting industries that come with it.
Right.
That economic growth, it can spill over into other areas.
Interesting.
Creating opportunities in China and in countries they partner with.
It's like a ripple effect.
Exact.
Starting with aviation, but spreading outwards.
And as China becomes a bigger player in aviation, they have more say on a global level.
Right.
They influence standards, trends, the whole thing.
Right.
It shows how technology, innovation, they're tied to geopolitics and economics.
This deep dive has really shown me how something like developing a plane,
Yeah.
it's part of a much bigger picture.
That's what we're trying to do here, right? Connect the dots. Show how seemingly separate events are actually linked.
Exactly.
And this story, it's about ambition, innovation, and the whole world changing.
And it's still unfolding.
Oh, yeah.
The ARJ-21 is just one chapter.
One chapter in a much bigger story.
About China's rise on the world stage.
Right.
Well, I think we've really gone deep on this one.
I think so, too.
We've looked at the tech, the impact on different regions, the global scene.
It's been fascinating, hasn't it?
It really has.
I hope our listeners are curious to learn even more.
Yeah, me too.
Keep exploring these ideas, what they mean for the world.
Thanks for joining us for the dive into the world of the ARJ-21. We'll be back soon with another one. Until then, keep those minds curious.